I was reading a fascinating story from Star Wars, The High Republic, where one of the Jedi goes and defends himself from an attacker, and the other are going like, no, this is not the Jedi way. Self-defense is not the Jedi way. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I realized that I was blind all this time. Apparently, comic books are all about politics. You can't write a comic book unless you're political. So this is my political take on Batman. You have Lex Luthor and the mayor of Gotham joining forces for mutual interest. The mayor of Gotham wants more control over people. He wants to know how people think and to suppress dissidents, while Lex Luthor wants to buy property in Gotham at a very cheap price. Now, as this is happening, there's a pandemic in Metropolis, and this is canon. It's so bad that Superman himself is wearing a mask. And of course, the Gotham mayor wants to keep his people safe, so he orders all of them to stay at home and enforces a curfew. He doesn't allow people to go to their businesses, he doesn't allow anyone to go onto the street. Everyone is supposed to stay at home and stay safe. But not only that, he also decides to open the prisons because the prisons themselves are very dangerous. So Blackgate Penitentiary is open and he sends all of the dangerous criminals back home. And he also opens Arkham Asylum because he can't guarantee the safety of the inmates, so they're also sent back home. Now, in doing so, he also releases the Joker, who realizes this is a great opportunity to play one of his jokes. He gets his gang and forms a huge crowd, a huge mob, and he wants to keep people safe. And he realizes that the thing that puts people in danger are the people's businesses. And he also realizes that property is not as important as human lives. As such, he actually goes back into Gotham and starts torching down businesses and burning up the place while chanting progressive slogans like we need to build back better, we need to create a better Gotham of the future, a smart Gotham. And it's the businesses that are actually keeping the people in danger. It's capitalism that's the problem. So, of course, Batman comes in and he beats up the Joker. But this time, something interesting happens because Lex Luthor and the mayor see this as an even greater opportunity. You see, the Joker destroying businesses means that now people can just sell off the land for a very cheap price and Lex Luthor can make a lot of money. While the mayor realizes that because people are afraid, he can actually use this opportunity in order to get more power and control. So what he does is he sets up an interview with the Joker. He gets the mainstream media to interview the Joker. And the Joker appears beaten up. Maybe he's got like a couple of bruises, a broken arm. Like he looks really banged up. And he points out how this is unfair because this is not justice. Sure, he committed crimes, but it was up to the authorities, to the police officers to arrest him. And he was supposed to have his day in court, not be beaten up on the streets by a vigilante. He then brings up an interesting statistic that despite the fact that Gotham has 50% men and 50% women, Batman beats up 99% of people who are men. And because of that, Batman is sexist. To further prove his case, he shows that Batman has been seen countless of times with Catwoman, which is also a criminal, and he never beat her up. He never roughed her up in the same way that he did the Joker and his men. And this shows that Batman is not actually interested in stopping crime, but he's just a sexist and he has a hatred on men. Now, as expected, very few people are buying this. You do have, of course, the couple of people that do agree that vigilantism is wrong, but very few people buy the idea that Batman is actually sexist. However, Commissioner Gordon, under public pressure, is forced to make a statement, and the police of Gotham do agree that vigilantism is wrong, and they always try to catch the Batman. And he gives the same lip service by saying that, look, even though Batman has a lot of fans in the city, and even though a lot of people might agree that what he is doing is for the good of the community, he is still a vigilante, and we're still going to try and catch him. At the end of the day, the rule of law is what's the most important, and we're not going to overlook it. But this time is not enough. This time, things are different. You see, many times in the past, the Gotham police did try to apprehend Batman, but this time, you're going to notice a major change. You see, Lex Luthor, having a lot of money and influence, he has access and connections with the people running the mainstream media corporations in Gotham. He also has the money and influence to talk with the people running social media. So he actually starts a massive censorship campaign. Any positive or even neutral message about Batman made by a public citizen is going to immediately get deleted, and the account of that person is going to get suspended. If you have an old woman that is thankful that Batman or Robin managed to save her when she got mugged, well, her account is now being deleted. Any single person that even talks about seeing the Batman and doesn't just outright say anything negative about him, they get deleted. So the only messages that you have on social media, the only vibe is that now people really hate the Batman. In fact, the social media blogging company creates this purple check mark that only trusted citizens get to have, and you're going to see a lot of people from the Joker crew having these trusted citizens and having their voices elevated so that they can speak just how bad Batman is, just how much harm he does to the community, and they're taking news out of context, and they're constantly showing all of the damage that Batman has did without mentioning the people that he has apprehended and the lives that he has saved. So as this is going on, the mainstream media also starts a war on vigilantism. They start demonizing everyone that supports vigilantism. They say Batman himself isn't the problem. The problem is the people that are agreeing with what he is doing. So now you have citizens that are trying to get other citizens fired, and they're pressuring corporations to fire anyone that in the past had offered any type of support for Batman. You have Gordon being fired. You have many good police officers being fired, and they're of course being replaced with people from the Joker squad. You have average citizens who might have said something on social media 5 years ago, thanking Batman for helping them resist a mugging. Well, those people are also going to get fired. So you have, yet again, people going on the streets, despite the fact that there's still a lockdown, just doing damage and burning the city and doing all of it. And in the meantime, Batman loses all of his support. Even the people that he rescues are now afraid of him because they might have someone take a picture as they're next to Batman, and that may be considered grounds for them being canceled and losing their job. So what ends up happening is that even people who like the Batman or people who are neutral to him, all of them pretend that they hate him just so that they don't get the Jokers canceling them. So most corporations and even banks, they decide that they were going to stop doing business with people that support any type of vigilantism. And the only corporation which doesn't fall in line happens to be Bruce Wayne's. So of course the mainstream media is going to want to talk with Bruce Wayne, and they corner him as he lives his Wayne enterprise. And they ask him, why isn't his corporation virtue signaling with everyone else? Why is his corporation not doing what's needed in order to fight against vigilantism? And Wayne says that his corporation is just about making money. He's not interested in those political activities. And of course, that's enough to signal to everyone that they need to cancel Wayne Enterprise. As such, all the other companies, all the other businesses, all the other banks, they pull their partnership away from Wayne Enterprise. The mainstream media starts looking into Wayne Enterprise, puts it under a microscope, accuses it of tax evasion, accuses it of literally everything under the sun, and causes the stocks of Wayne Enterprise to plummet and heading towards bankruptcy. And eventually the board forces Bruce Wayne to disavow vigilantism and to have an interview where he says only negative things about Batman, and even forces Wayne Tech to talk with the mayor and to promise that they're going to now make technology that's going to be used to start spying on people. Because you see, this is the only way to win the war on vigilantism, is to make sure that no person supports vigilantes. And this is why the mayor wants to install a spy grid across the city. Everyone needs to be listened and monitored at all time. Everyone needs to be assigned a citizen score. If they want to be able to make loans from the bank, if they want to be able to have a job, they're going to have to prove that they're trusted citizens and they're not people that associate with vigilantes. So all in all, you have businesses being burned down, unemployment is skyrocketing, crime is off the roof, the police is incredibly demoralized, most people live in fear and they're terrorized because Everyone knows at least one person who got fired or arrested because they said a joke 5 years ago on social media. So, what is the Joker doing while this is happening? Well, the Joker is getting a group of people and is assaulting Wayne Manor. Why? Well, because Bruce Wayne is in the spotlight now. He's the only CEO which hasn't condemned vigilantism. Now, as he breaks into Wayne Manor, you have Alfred coming out with a shotgun and threatening them that if they don't leave, he is going to shoot. But of course, the Joker manages to overpower Alfred and beats him up. However, the security system in Wayne Manor manages to inform the cops and they arrive just in time. Unfortunately, Alfred is actually being charged by the Joker, saying that the Joker felt threatened as Alfred pointed the gun at him. And now you have a lawsuit which is open to the public and the mainstream media can see what's going on. And they're all treating Joker like a hero. They're treating Joker like a social justice activist because he campaigns for the rights of men. And they also say that Joker has done a lot for the community. And after he came up, there's been less and less vigilantists. And he had a lot of progressive slogans like we need to build back better, we need to build back a better community. So the Joker is being elevated to the status of hero, to the status of model citizen, while Alfred is being pointed as a person who supports vigilantists, a person who used a deadly weapon and pointed it at someone else, and the Joker could have been greatly harmed because of what Alfred did. And that's pretty much like the vibe that is being broadcasted on television. And anyone that sides with Alfred, anyone that even says something positive with Alfred gets fired, gets censored. So yeah, I'm starting to think that politics into comic books can be done. I'm really curious what Kotaku and Polygon would think about my pitch, because we need more politics into comics, I've been told, and initially I was hesitant, but now that I'm thinking about it, I think I can come up with a couple of plots. I think I could come up with a couple of stories. I don't know if people want to buy them. I don't know if people would be interested in them, but hey, if you liked it, please share this video around. I'm really curious to see what people think. At least this would be the major setting in which everything would take place. And I know like some people ask me, it's like, but what about actual fights? Like what about Batman actually punching the Joker? Like, no. See, this is a progressive comic. This is a 2021 comic. We don't do that anymore. Comics aren't about superheroes and villains fighting with each other. Comics are about sending a message.